this idea of minimalism had never come up in my life before. My parents hoard everything, like they keep everything. And so I just decided to see how I would feel getting rid of my stuff. And I wanted to just be more at peace because I felt like my life in my home was very chaotic. So I was looking mainly for like peace of mind.
Astrid, it's a pleasure to have you on KEAL. How are you doing today?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Very well, very well. Thank you so much, Astrid. And, I really want to invite you on this episode because I'm really curious to know, with someone like yourself, who has really focused on this idea for their life of, I really need to understand what it means to declutter and have the right things in my life. I want to embrace this idea of a minimalist lifestyle, but I want to do it in my way that makes sense, right? Because when I've spoken to other people on this channel and other discussions about what this idea of minimalism means, and it seems to have different meanings to other people, but I think in the end, more than anything, just means what you really want in your life and what you really shouldn't. So then you don't feel as stressed. I think it all leads to either being stressed or not stressed in the end. It makes sense to me because it's like if you overwhelm yourself, your circuits in your body is going to feel terrible. So can you please explain to our audience, what does minimalism mean to you personally as being Astrid? And why, because you focus a lot on this idea of decluttering your life. I think you have something called the Declutter in 20 Minutes program or something of that nature. So just go into that a little bit and tell us a little bit about yourself and why these themes are important to you, Astrid.
A little bit about me. I am a nurse. I'm a mom of 2. I live in Miami, which is one of the most quote unquote expensive cities to live in right now. And it's like very flashy, fast kind of lifestyle, or at least when people think of Miami, they think of like the beaches, luxury, a lot of stuff, nightlife, kind of like that. And so that has never resonated with me. What has resonated with me is sort of like the opposite, being very unbusy, having fun, but also slowing down in my life. And so I realized a couple years ago that I was just not living in the way that I wanted to, or that I felt was very true to me. And I discovered minimalism through Marie Kondo, which I'm sure you've heard of. And once I started letting go of all the things that didn't serve me, or I realized I didn't even need, I felt like my brain fog cleared up a little bit, and I was able to not stress as much of like maintaining my things and just being happier and feeling more freedom in my life. And so after I had kids, I sort of reaccumulated a lot of the stuff that I had gotten rid of. And then when I moved into a bigger home, I realized just because I had a bigger home, I felt like I had to bring in all the stuff from my apartment into my bigger home, but I felt like claustrophobic still, And so I was stressed out. I was yelling constantly at my kids because I was so overwhelmed with all the stuff that I had to maintain in my home. Every time I looked up, I thought of like, I have to clean this, I have to do this. And I just wasn't enjoying motherhood and life. And I would talk to a lot of friends and they felt the exact same way as me. Like they felt like they couldn't have fun in their life, like they didn't have time for themselves, they didn't have time for their kids. And that's the whole point of life, is to enjoy your life and not be cleaning up the whole time and not be stressing out the whole time about, to me, mundane things. And so I really try to express that through in my Instagram to people my age so that they could start enjoying motherhood and life again.
Astrid, it makes a lot of sense to me personally, just listening to you, why, this idea of going towards minimalist path makes a lot of sense, because I think there's so many people, your story and who you are and how your life generally is. I think so many people relate to that. You're a mother, you have kids, you work, you're busy, you have a lot going on. So it's like, how can I skim off everything else so I can focus on these people I brought into the world? How I can focus, like, and I think as well as you know, as a mother, as a parent, that you got to focus on you too. If you're not good with who you are, those kids ain't going to be happy, right? So you are a exemplary person of why this is really, really important that we need to focus on. So I want to go back really quick because I have some really pointed questions I want to ask you. Let's go back. I want to go back to the moment where you said it, like you mentioned at the beginning, that you need to change. Like you made a decision somewhere where you're just saying that, like, I have to change because it has to be done. Like what was going on in your life that made you decide, like, I have to change and follow a different path? What was the crux of that moment?
I don't know if you know this, but I was scammed out of $30,000 a few years ago. And that was the time where I had to really figure out my finances and a budget and figure out where my money was going, because I was making good money as a nurse, but I felt like I didn't have any, or it was like all going to stuff that I really didn't need in my life. And so I don't know, like this idea of minimalism had never come up in my life before. My parents hoard everything, like they keep everything. And so I just decided to see how I would feel getting rid of my stuff and changing my relationship and my habits with shopping and with my money. And that's how everything changed, basically. Like, I realized I didn't want all the stuff. I wanted to focus on traveling and having fun experiences with my friends. And I wanted to just be more at peace, because I felt like my life in my home was very chaotic. So I was looking mainly for like peace of mind.
No, absolutely. And was that process difficult from your opinion? Like, was it difficult to purchase less, to do, let's say, certain less activities, not only for the financial aspect of it, but maybe even for certain social reasons, maybe because of relationships? Was the actual process itself difficult for you for a while? And how is it easier now, you would say?
The decluttering part was difficult because I've never done that before. And it took a few rounds of decluttering to really see a difference, because you kind of like keep stuff and you go, oh my God, yeah, I'm gonna need this later. And then when you finish, you look around and you think to yourself, wow, I still have so much stuff. Let me try it again. And then you go back to these items and you're like, why did I even keep this the first time? You know, I really don't need this. And then you get rid of it. So you start to become more and more ruthless with your things. So at first it was difficult, but then it got easier for me. And then the other aspect of like budgeting, I thought it was really fun. I realized like figuring out where my money was going and where I wanted it to go was actually like really beneficial for me, because I've never budgeted in my life, and I just kind of like would spend until I had no money left, and I didn't have a savings account, and I really wanted to save up for a house and pay off this debt. And so that part was not as difficult for me. And so once I changed like what I had to do, like once I realized what I had to do, it all kind of fell into place.
You know, to change a habit is not easy at all. I'll tell you, I've tried to change a couple, 2 or 3, and for me, it's like eating nails for breakfast. You know, it's hard. It's really, really, really hard. Mm-hmm. And so for me, it's quite inspiring hearing you being able to do this, because I'm like, you know, you got to tackle money issues. You got to tackle consumer behavior. You're tackling your relationship. I mean, and you have kids. I mean, the way I understand is like you have to have a tremendous amount of discipline to do that. Can you go through your process, Astrid, about and the way that you recommend people to declutter? Is like, what does that process involve? Like, how do you, I mean, it's just one thing, just chuck something, but I mean, if I open my drawer right now, I may have a bunch of stuff, but I want to keep it because I have sentimental value with that object, which is unbelievable, but it gives you a certain memory. So how do you, Astrid, go through that process?
When I'm helping other people declutter, I usually have people start in the bathroom. It sounds weird, but the bathroom doesn't have a lot of sentimental items in it. So you kind of learn to build that decluttering muscle for yourself by starting really easy, really quick wins. So in the bathroom, you might have like expired products, products you've never seen before or haven't seen for a while, and you can just throw them away, or items that you tried and you didn't like. That's easy to get rid of. So I usually have people start in the bathrooms and then work your way up. Sentimental items should be the last thing, because once you've gone through everything, once you get to sentimental items, you really hone in on like what is really valuable and important to you. Because if you start with sentimental items, everything could be important to you. But once you get down to like the last things, you're like, oh, that really isn't, I don't really need this.
That process sounds so good and also so incredibly logical. Like I mean, I love it though, because it's like, you're absolutely right. You really need to start with things that maybe don't have such a clear attachment to. I mean, you're not going to throw away, this, notebook of something you wrote down for all your creative ideas, but you don't use them anymore, but you're just not going to chuck that. Yeah. You got to start with like, the cotton swabs that just got pushed in the corner. That makes so much sense. I think it's excellent. And are you like, would you say like you personally, Astrid, are you like way too organized now? Or are you still in that process of perfecting your way of decluttering, you would say?
I am a good declutterer. At first I didn't see the value in like organization, like baskets and buying extra products to organize your stuff. But the more after I've decluttered, I actually bought like baskets from like Target, and it actually makes things easier to like see exactly what you have and things aren't falling down. I'm not the most organized person, but I'm learning and trying every day.
Yeah, and I'm curious as well, are these sort of habits as well that you're still going through and picking up on and perfecting for yourself in your situation? Are you also teaching your kids?
Yes. My daughter is she sees how I declutter, and sometimes she'll be like, Mommy, please don't throw this away. I'm like, no, I'm not. I know you still use that, right? And she goes, yeah, I still use it. Or if we're going through clothes, she'll try something on. She'll be like, I don't like this. You can donate it. So she's kind of like seeing what I'm doing and doing it herself.
There seems to be, I mean, that's fascinating. There seems to be an issue. It just smacked me in the head where I could see this being like something, I'm not trying to create scare situation, but you said you're in Miami, and at the beginning of this conversation you said it's about the flash, it's about the material things, etc. What do you say to your kids maybe when they go to school and they're around other kids and they got all these iPhone 27, whatever it is now, I don't remember, when they got all these other like bling and whatever else? I mean, if that's what you want, that's great, but if your kids are taught if you're teaching your kids a certain way to understand consumer behavior and objects and consumption in general, and then they go into a situation with other kids where it's not like that? How are you, is there a way you're maybe training them to have those conversations, or is it not necessary? Or I'm curious, especially being in Miami.
Right now, my kids are only 2 and 4.
Okay.
But since they were very little, they, like, for example, if they go to Target, they know that they can play with a toy in the store, but then they have to put it away afterward or give it to the cashier and say goodbye to it. And they don't feel the need to take everything home, and we don't feel the need to buy everything that we like. And what I've realized, and my mom has realized this too, coming to the store with us, is that they'll play with something for 5 minutes, and then they're like, I'm bored, next, the next thing that they want. So my mom used to want to buy them everything that they grabbed. And then she started realizing, like, they would get bored so quick and just want the next thing. And she was like, oh, I don't have to buy them everything. They can just play at the store and put it back. So that's what I've kind of taught them from an early age. We use secondhand clothing, so we don't go to the store and buy like new stuff all the time. We get a lot of hand-me-downs, which I prefer. I think it's better for the environment. And yeah, if they see something that other kids have and they want, I say, well, next time we come over, you can play with this item again. That doesn't mean we have to bring it home with us or buy it.
Wow, that's incredible. That's teaching them like really good habits at such a young age that, will carry on for the rest of their life. So that's amazing. That's really amazing. Really admire you for that. Just a couple more questions, Astrid. And, your experience and the way you live, I think is just very, very relatable and inspiring for so many people. So congratulations on all you're doing and continue to do. And I'm really curious, especially when it comes to finances as well. So, I mean, I'll tell you for myself personally, like, there became a situation a few years ago where I was like, yeah, I need to understand how much better it'll be to save versus just blowing everything right away. Because at the same time, if you think of the longevity of yourself biologically too, is like, well, if I have to worry about the way I work and how to work at a much later age, that's not going to be so good for my overall being, right? Because you're going to be more tired, and, well, hopefully you're doing the right things for your health to not get totally burnt out, to help yourself later in life. But at the same time, I think anyone would attest to the fact that the older you get, the more you want to relax. That's just natural. So in the way that you see finances and that you personally budget for yourself and your household, like, what are some interesting insights or tips, that could really get people kind of motivated on this idea of purchasing what you should purchase that's necessary in a way, and also this idea of saving? Like, any insight on that?
Yeah. So I don't believe in deprivation. I don't believe in having like a scarcity mindset. So because of that, I have a budget to do fun things with my friends and with my kids and for travel, so that I don't feel deprived when I'm spending money on other things. So first, I'll pay myself like for investments and the future. I'll put money into savings. I'll pay all my bills. And then whatever I have left over, I'll sort of divide up into like eating out, dates with my husband, fun stuff with the kids, stuff like that. And I never feel deprived or like I don't have enough.
That's a very key thing you're saying. It's like you don't put yourself in a situation where you feel deprived. You prioritize properly, and you are able to live the life that you think is important to you. So I think that's really, really key. I think that's a great thing. Please comment below, all our viewers and listeners. Like, is that important point that Astrid is mentioning? Is it really important in the way that you think you should be thinking about money? Please comment below. It'd be great to know. And Astrid, as we conclude, and I thank you so much for this excellent opportunity to speak with you and share your story. We truly thank you so much. What is the just leave our audience, what is one of the biggest things that you've learned about yourself, like you, Astrid, you know, on how your life has changed from how it was a few years ago up until now? And what is it possibly like that you feel good about how you are now from then?
Oh my gosh, what a loaded question.
I know, I'm sorry.
I feel like I've changed so much. Like the person that I was before, I don't even recognize her. I used to be so angry, so anxious. I used to have panic attacks. I kid you not, like every other day. I would be so stressed out. I would overthink. I felt like I had no time for myself. I felt like I couldn't be like the mother that I wanted to be. And like now people don't even believe, like people will tell me like, wow, isn't it hard to have like a full-time job and have 2 kids? And I tell them, honestly, no, I find it really easy actually, because just the way my life is set up, it's set up to serve me and my family. It's not set up to have me fail. And clearing out the clutter in my physical environment also helped me clear out the clutter in my mind and my brain, and really helped me focus on what I wanted to do in my life and how I wanted to serve others and how I wanted to be as a wife and a mom and a friend and just everything. And yeah, now I just feel like so at peace all the time and so calm and energized. Like I work a night shift nursing job and I feel like I have so much energy. I don't know. I feel like you would never know that I have like a nighttime job and 2 toddlers. Yeah.
You're amazing. That's the only word that comes to my. That's so inspirational, Astrid. I'm blown away. That's just you work at night. I mean, because I have a brother who's also that does exactly what you do as well, and he, you know, for many years he was working night shift. And I was like, oh, how can you do that? And you're doing that, and your kids, and your husband, and this and that. Wow, and you have all that energy. Man, I gotta learn. Wow, Astrid, and something really, I'm gonna write it down probably after you and I discuss right now. What you said, you set your life up in a way that you won't fail. That's key. I think for me, I'm going to take that away, like as the big macro thing, but like set your life up in a way where you won't fail. And I think that's so key, right? We got to just really think, each and every one of us, about those intrinsic things to us that matter most and how we want our actual lifestyle to be, because that'll make us ultimately supremely happy. I'm congratulations on all your progress and continued progress. And Astrid, where can people find you, connect with you, share your, be part of your journey? Where can they, see everything about you?
The best place to find me is on Instagram. I'm at the Miami Minimalist. And that's the best place to find me, honestly. I will be starting a TikTok soon, a TikTok account, because I do want to show my life, like my motherhood, my spiritual journey, everything.
Awesome. So we're going to include, for all those listening, watching, we're going to include all Astrid's information as usual in the show notes, description box, the pinned comments, and all the clips. And you can find her, connect with her, just draw into yourself, and conclude for yourself what she's sharing that could uniquely work for you and make your life better. And it certainly will for me. So thank you so much, Astrid. Really appreciate this opportunity to speak with you. And we'll see you all on the next episode. Take care, everyone.